In this video, we're going to talk about rereading to understand. Rereading is an important strategy to apply so that you understand and enjoy what you're reading. Good readers constantly monitor what they're reading. That is, they pay attention to their understanding of the words, and they also are aware when they're just reading words and they're not understanding anymore. Rereading is a way to fix up when your comprehension has broken down. So good readers really have two jobs. One is to read the words, and the other is to think about what's happening in the text you're reading. Good readers stop reading if something doesn't make sense, and they reread until they understand. Rereading to understand really has three simple steps. The first one is recognize when you don't understand and stop reading. Ask yourself, does that make sense? If not, you need to go back to where your comprehension broke down and reread. Watch while I apply this strategy in a passage from Ruby the Copycat by Peggy Rothman. Monday was Ruby's first day in Miss Hart's class. Class, this is Ruby, announced Miss Hart. Ruby, you may use the empty desk behind Angela. Angela is the girl with the pretty red bow in her hair. Bow in her hair. Does that make sense? No, that doesn't. I'm going to go back and reread. Ruby, you may use the empty desk behind Angela. Angela, this is the girl with the pretty red bow in her hair. Angela is the girl with the pretty red bow in her hair. Yes, it worked. Did you notice what I did? While I was reading along, I came to the word bow, but the first time I read it, I said bow. And bow does not make sense. I asked myself, does this make sense? Did that make sense? And it didn't make sense. So I went back and I reread. And the second time I read it correctly, and it did make sense. You can apply this strategy anytime you read. Try it now. Here's another passage from Ruby the Copycat. Stop the video, read this passage, and any time your comprehension breaks down, go back and reread. Take a few seconds and do it. How did you do? Well, hopefully you had an opportunity to stop, ask yourself, does that make sense? And reread until it did make sense. So remember that when you go off today to your own independent reading, you can apply the reread to understand strategy. You need to do three things. While you're reading, if your comprehension breaks down, you need to stop, ask, does this make sense? And if not, you need to go back and reread. Have fun!